Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, the podcast where we discuss cybercrimes and cybersecurity news. This week we'll be talking about more of a physical security concern rather than typically what you'd think of when you think of cybersecurity, which I personally find really interesting, although make no mistake, this is still very much a technology-related problem, because technology is very much integrated into the physical world. What I'm talking about is building access management systems. If you work in an office building, you may have an ID that you have to scan on a reader to enter your building or office space. In some especially fancy places, you may need to do a fingerprint or a palm scan as well to access locations. Either way, things like keycards and fingerprint scanners are linked to you. Your keycard will have information on who you are and what you are allowed to access on it. My card, when I place it against a badge reader, tells the system that I am Chloe Tonis, I work at the OCC, I work on X specific floor, and I'm allowed to access floors X, Y, and Z. And because I work in IT, I may have special access to the IT data center. But I'm not allowed to access the facility's storage room because I don't work in that department. Building management systems have gotten very intelligent and can actually tell you a lot about who you are, where you work, and beyond that, even where you're allowed to go. This is a good thing, but it might be a problem if that information is not being secured. Researchers recently discovered 49,000 misconfigured access management systems across many industries and countries, and these misconfigurations may allow unauthorized parties to view information on employees or even compromise physical building security. Modat, a security research firm, decided to investigate this deeper and discovered thousands of internet-exposed AMS, or access management systems, that did not properly authenticate users. This allows anyone to access those access management systems. And with this level of access, you could potentially view personal identification information like name, email, phone number, of employees, biometric data, depending on the type of scanner used, photos of employees, their work schedules, places they're permitted to access, and even logs indicating when they enter and exit certain areas of the building. These logs very much exist. If you work at a place where it's a hybrid situation and you're required to be in 3 days or maybe 2 days in the office, the system will track how often you're actually coming in to make sure you are compliant with the in-office requirements. This is pretty common. But this wasn't just a simple data breach of, you can view all this data about people. In some cases, Modat could actually edit these records, add fake employees, and change access credentials, or manipulate access controls to allow people to enter restricted areas. This is a huge physical security risk. Say a disgruntled employee finds out and they can just log right into the building access control portal without being authorized. They could give themselves permission to enter restricted areas, like maybe a data center, and could use this physical access to steal data like backup tapes or copy data directly from servers. Or maybe two competitors work in the same building. An employee at Company A could find out about this, change their access to allow them into Company B, walk right in, and steal trade secrets or data. This is especially worrying for government buildings or buildings like critical infrastructure buildings, power plants, water treatment plants, things like that. And most people don't really check things like badges to make sure that somebody actually works in the building. If you see someone new walking around, you probably figure it's just a new hire you've never met, or maybe an employee you haven't run into yet. Very few people want to stop someone and ask for ID verification. People tend not to like confrontation, so if they're in a restricted area, the general assumption is that they belong there. So, this is concerning from an access perspective, but it also actually allows for spear phishing scams. Spear phishing is a type of phishing that is highly targeted towards a particular person. Someone with access to a data center, for example, may be a high-value target. Based on information like days someone's in the office or general times they badge in and out, a phishing scheme can be targeted to align with someone's schedule. Maybe it's a fake email from the building saying that access will be cut off on these days for maintenance, and click for more information. Or saying something like you need to re-verify your identity or your access will be cut off. Most of these exposed systems were surprisingly found in Italy, And in the United States, less than 2,000 were found exposed on the open internet, but that's still quite a lot of buildings. So what can you do about this? Well, this is not a particular vulnerability, just a misconfiguration, which means it can be fixed pretty easily. Modat actually contacted the system owners to let them know that they could access the building management tools on the open internet. So if you see something like this and you manage buildings, you may want to take some additional steps to secure that, and make it only accessible within your network. If there is a default admin password for the system, change it. Better yet, don't use shared admin accounts ever. They're generally not very secure. Instead, give certain users that should be able to access this their own admin accounts. This will also make auditing changes easier since it's tied to a particular person. And, of course, enable multi-factor authentication for those admin accounts as well, so that even if the password is compromised, hackers will still need to use a second factor to get in that they likely don't have. Latest software updates should, of course, be applied to whichever tool is used to make sure it has all the security updates as well. And finally, any PII or personally identifiable information should be encrypted so it cannot be read by hackers. If you see someone in your workspace that has no badge or has a badge that typically your employees don't wear, it's important to be comfortable with questioning them, asking to see their badge, and possibly contacting your facilities department to verify that they're supposed to be here. Sometimes it's maintenance people from other companies going in to check something out, like if there's a problem with the electrical, or it's delivery people bringing stuff in. It can happen. It's better to be safe than sorry in many cases, even though it's a little awkward to approach someone and question their identity. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, and another thanks to Modat, Tech Radar, and Bleeping Computer for information on these exposed systems. I personally am really interested in things like physical access controls as well as general cybersecurity. It all really does fall under the same umbrella. My name is Chloe Tonis, and until next time, stay secure.